Hi everyone, VortexTCG here, and today I've got another gameplay video showcasing my DarkKnightmon deck, and my opponent on my right is going to be playing Rosemon Burst Mode, a brand new deck that is essentially pretty much all in BT13, and I get to start off here by going into the Doraemon and then go into the Nene. And if you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter, a link will be in the description down below. Anyways, my opponent gets a pretty good start off the Powermon, then does another Powermon search, adding 2 cards, going to the Sunflower, using its effect to play out another Sunflowermon, ready for the following turn. And so I've got quite a few options here because I kind of want to essentially get rid of all the cards here. I swing into security, I use the Pagumon here to look at the top card. It's a Mighty X mode, so I get to add it to my hand. I then go into a Dark Knight to de-digivolve, and then I believe I delete the Sunflower here, just because I know the Sunflower is going to be a bit of a problem, especially when it reduces its cost, so I also delete that. And now I've got a blocker up, and I'm able to play stuff as well. So my opponent has 2 memories, so he doesn't have a full board or like a way to essentially get to everything he needs to, but yeah, so he goes and adds the Sunflower and the Rosemon here, and then I'm able to well, he goes into another Sunflower, plays the Lalamon, I think this is called, and then he's able to look at the top 3, and I believe he's going to add the Rosemon there, I think it was. So I go into my turn, hatch, and then go into a Doraemon here. I've got a pretty decent setup potentially. I could probably clear his board here, which is pretty nice, so I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I swing into security here, probably a mistake actually. I mean, it doesn't really change the outcome of the game here, but what I could have potentially done is swing into one of the Sunflowers, and then I think I'm going to go into the Dark Knight X here to then I could have swung into the other, and then maybe go into a Dark Knight to just give him 4. So maybe a bit of a misplay on my part, but what I decide to do here is I go Immortal Ruler to mill 3, and then it says you may. So I'm just thinking, do I want to here? And I don't think I have an art, or I don't have the sources, or I don't have the Digicross one in trash. So I go into Dark Knight X Antibody, return a Mighty X mode. Oh no, I'm considering here, I'm looking at my hand, I add the Skull Knight, unsuspend, and pop my Tamer, gaining 2 memory, and then drawing as well. And then I'm going to swing into the other Sunflower here. This is why I think I maybe was a bit greedy with that first swing. I should have probably, you know, just gotten rid of the whole board here. So maybe a misplay that will come up and bite me here, but he goes into Sunflower using this effect to I told him that this is in the wrong order, because you can't just draw before you finish off your effect, so I'm just telling him that. But he goes into the Lilymon, which allows him to play the Tamer for free, which is always a nice thing. He's then going to potentially go into a Rosemon here. I don't have blocker anymore, so it is a bit scary, but he goes to the Rosemon here, uses the Tamer to gain 1 memory back, suspends the Dark Knight, and then unsuspends his Rosemon. He then goes into the burst mode, suspending everything here, and then he's able to swing at security, I believe this is. I think here he's just telling me about on deletion effect. I'm just telling him about on deletion effects because he's a bit confused about it. Doraemon here allows me to look at the top card. It's a Mighty X mode, and I get to play that, and then use Mighty X mode to do a search, which is very nice. This is why Doraemon is so good in this deck, because you're able to play out so many cards. What I should have done though is that I believe Doraemon says at the end of battle, so what I should have done here was I should have let the security go through first and then do the effect. So apologies for my misplay. He then goes into a Sunflower and then passes the turn, getting rid of the burst mode. So now it's a bit interesting, because now we've got potential, you know, what am I meant to do in this situation? So I swing at security, but I misplay here, I think, a little bit. I probably should have swung into the Sunflower here, because then he won't have, you know, another guy to potentially go into. So maybe a bit of a misplay by me. And now I'm just considering my follow-up options. I'm just looking at the burst mode effect just to make sure, because I do have ways to unsuspend my guys, but if it doesn't really matter because of the burst mode effect, then can't really do much about it, can you? So at this point, I popped the memory boost, go to 3. And what I decide to do here is that I'm just looking, cycling through my hand, so I go into a Dark Knight, give him 1, Digivolve the Rosemon, and then delete one of the stack. I think it probably would have been better if I swung with the Mighty Axe mode into the Sunflower, delete it, then also suspended the Doraemon. I kind of wanted the Doraemon search, I believe, at this point though, so it's a bit either way, and then go into the Dark Knight to get rid of the other. So he decides to swing into the Mighty Axe mode. I think he just wants to stop, but I have the Wargrey Ace, and this is why the Wargrey Ace is so good in situations. If your opponent, as you have no real way to search the Wargrey in this deck, you pretty much have the surprise factor. So just the ability to counter and then also, you know, block straight away is very powerful, and it pretty much wins me the game here, if I'm being perfectly honest. Wargrey in Dark Knight is very powerful, and this is the reason why. So he goes into Lilymon, and I start to swing for game. We then get into game 2, and I believe my opponent is going to force me to start going first, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go into the Doraemon here, which is a pretty decent setup, and then I'm going to go into the Pride Memory Boost. I do hit a Skull Knight, which is okay here, but it's definitely not one of the ones you want to see most of the time. You kind of want to see the Deadly Axemon, the Mighty Axe mode, or maybe even just the Rookie in Monotomon. So he goes into the Terrier, then goes into the Palmon here, and then he's going to be able to Digivolve on top of it in raising for the Sunflower, passing me to 1. So he's obviously building up a stack. I'm going to swing a security. I do get the search from the Pagumon, which is another Mighty Axe mode. We love seeing Mighty Axe mode, obviously. And at this point, I could potentially do something a little bit more cute here. I think if I had the BT7, BT7 DarkKnightmon here, I could have Mighty Axe mode for a reduced cost of 1, Digicrossing for 1, but I didn't have it in hand here, which is very unfortunate. So, because if I did that, I could then swing with the Skull Knight, then Digivolve into a Dark Knight, and then get the bonuses that way. So it was definitely like a potential line if I had it, but unfortunately I didn't, so it is what it is. So I get the search, and then I'm going to pass him back to 4 by playing Kiriha and Nene. So the Kiriha and Nene is something that I'm warming up to a little bit in this deck, if I'm being honest. Just being able to use your trash as resources is very nice in the deck, and sometimes you just desperately need to get your trash, because you'll end up going to be trashing a lot of cards anyways through the Mighty Axe mode and other effects. So something that you definitely want to consider. So he then goes into the Rosemon, suspends the Kiriha and Nene, which is very unfortunate for me. He's then going to go into the Burst mode, returning the Tamer, swing, trash the top security, it's obviously the Tamer, and then swing 2 times. Effect of the Chikuri at the end of the battle allows me to Digivolve. There's no point in Digivolve in the Burst mode, because it does it anyways at the end of the turn. And so I decide to Digivolve the Sunflower that was on top of the Palmon. And so here, I mean, he's got a pretty good lineup. So he ends up potentially swinging into the security with the Palmon. You can't swing him with the Linomon though, unfortunately. So I think he's just considering his options here, because it is quite difficult. So what he decides to do here is give me 1, because it's probably the best thing he can do at this point. I'm supposed to get a memory, and that's what I do here from the Kiriha and Nene. And now I've got, like, it's not really that great for me, because my deck has essentially become I play a Dark Knight and pass turn, so it's not great, but it is what it is. I use the Dark Knight here to, I think I did Digivolve the Rosemon here just to make sure that, you know, he doesn't have the complete out, but I think I misplay here. I think I should have Digivolved the Rosemon here and then deleted the Red Veggie. I don't know why I did this, but I should have done that, because I would have at least forced the Rosemon here. But I think in my logic is that if he had another Rosemon from BT13, he could suspend my Dark Knight, and I couldn't really do much other than that. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for me. He swings into security. I hit a Izzy, which is very nice, and I get a search of the Wargrey and 2 Monotomons, and I get a memory. So I'm thinking here if I want to block, and I think in this situation I definitely do, because I don't think it's worthwhile. So I block here. and then he suspends my other tamer when he does that. So the Izzy doesn't really matter that much, but he passed the turn by going into the tamer, and gives me 3. So I've got some stuff to deal with here for sure. So now I'm just looking at my trash to see if there's any answers that I can use here. And the problem is that he's got 11k DP, so I don't particularly want to go into the War Grey Ace because it will crash and then I'll lose 4 memory. So not great in this situation, but maybe I could force it in a different way. So what I decide to do here is I go into another Dark Knight, Digivolve this and go into the, well, I can't delete the Lilamon, so it just stays at level 5. And at this point, I only have 1 card in hand, so I think I'm thinking what I want to do. I decide to swing into the stack just so he has to have an answer essentially, and hopefully that will do. And I feel like I'm in a pretty good position here because now my opponent, doesn't essentially have a board presence while I have all the board presence. So I'm hoping that my opponent doesn't have any answers, but he does have 3 memory, so he might be able to get there. He goes into the Sunflower, uses this to reduce the cost by 1, goes into this, and then is able to play another tamer. And yeah, unfortunately it looks like he has pretty much everything he needs because I can't really do much about it, unfortunately. Goes to the Rosemon, taps that to gain 2 memory, and then he's able to, they all have blockers, so he's wondering which ones to suspend, so he suspends the Dark Knight here. And yeah, it's obviously not a great situation to be in, obviously, at this point. So I think I just gotta hope he doesn't have the burst mode, but unfortunately he does have the burst mode in hand, which really does slow my plays down. And so he goes into the burst mode, suspends one of the Digimon, and then suspends one of the tamers. He's going to suspend the Duo tamer here, just to give him a refresher on what the cards do. So he just suspends the one that's most important. He swings and is able to trash a security, so I do have to force the block here with the Monitor mod, so can't obviously force to do that here, but he does able to trash the top card anyways. So everything is essentially suspended now, so not feeling very confident coming into the next turn, but hey, hopefully there might be a little bit of a miracle. So he decides to end the turn by playing Lilamon, I think that is. The backwards card is a green memory boost. We did allow play proxies in this tournament, so just so you guys are aware. I promote the Monitormon here and gain a memory, so I'm back at 4, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident for sure, but I don't think I have all the cards that I need, and as I can't unsuspend my guys, essentially I don't really have much of a choice here, so it's not a great situation to be in. So I go to Monitormon, reveal the top 4. I don't think I see a Dark Knight here. I don't think I had a Dark Knight in my hand at this point, so that's very unfortunate for me. Yeah, I definitely didn't have a Dark Knight here. So, yeah, I mean, maybe a play that I could have done here was I could have digivolved into the Dark Knight here, Dark Knight X, to delete the tamer so it doesn't have access to the burst mode. But unfortunately, I don't really have, I didn't really think of that because obviously if I go into the Dark Knight, he's going to have the memory to essentially do anything anyways. Like I can't block all the attacks, and if he has Rosemon, then he'll be able to suspend the other blocker. So not a great situation to be in for sure. So at this point, he's just checking if he has 3 blockers. If I have 3 blockers, he goes to the Sunflower, uses the effect, I believe. Oh no, he's thinking about it. To go into the Lila for a cost of 1, plays the Tamer out again, is also able to gain a memory, and then he's able to go into the Rosemon here for a reduced cost of 2, goes and suspends the other guy, and unsuspends, and then suspends the other guy and goes for game. And so we get into the final game of this match, and my opponent gets to start off here, goes into the level 4, so he's got a nice stack going already, giving me 2 memory. I go into Dorumon, something that apparently that I'm doing all the time apparently, so we're all good. I decide to play the Izzy just so I'm able to gain some advantage from having the free memory. So he then doesn't promote, but he goes into the Palmon, reveals top 4, and he sees the burst mode, so I assume he's going to go for that, which he does, and then he can't add anything else. So I then draw, promote the Doro, I swing at security, hit a Rosemon. I'm able to add the top card on my deck if it was a Digimon, and I think it was a Monitormon in this situation. Oh no, it was the War Grey. I then play a Monitor, to then reveal the top 4. And in this case, I end up adding... I'm considering adding the Deadly Axemon just so I have a blocker, but in traits anyways. But I decide to not in this situation. I'm at 0 memory now, so I'm just considering what I should potentially do. So I decide to just do some more searching because I feel like my opponent is playing very slow. I hit 3 Chikuris here, which is very unfortunate. I'd rather have them in security or just draw them just so I can have a rookie, but unlucky for me, I guess. He then plays a Tamer, but this is not the normal one. I believe this is a pretty bad one. Allows you to recycle a Digi-Egg or something like that. I actually don't know. It's like a BT4 card, so it must be bad. Goes into the Rosemon, suspends one of my monitors, and then is able to return the Tamer to then suspend both of my guys, swing, and then is able to trash the top 1, and then do 2 security checks. He then goes into Sunflower, suspends it, and then plays another level 3, adds the Tamer, and puts the red Veggie to the bottom, I believe. So now I'm in a bit of a problematic situation because I can't really do much to answer the board, which is very unfortunate. So I decide to go into the Nene here, which allows me to reveal. I add the Dark Knight here, and that's a misplay right there. I'm only supposed to add 1 card by add 2. I don't think it makes a difference here, but that is a big misplay on my behalf. Something that I definitely shouldn't be doing. I think I just got confused with the Monitormon effect, but I already had another one in hand, so it doesn't really make much of a difference here. So yeah, definitely a misplay from my behalf. So at this point, he's just considering what he should do, and he doesn't really have many options. I don't think he has a Rosemon in his hand, which is very unfortunate. So he's just considering what he should do here, and I think he plays a little bit more aggressive. He goes to the Sunflower, suspends itself, I believe, to then play a level 3. And I think the level 3 is going to be another Searcher. Oh no, it's not. It's going to be the Sunflower here because I believe it costs, it's like 3k DP or higher, I think. He then goes into the Palmon, wishes that you got that earlier. He then swings into one of the Monitormons, but I have the Ace, and then I block it, and then there goes my opponent's big stack. So not a great situation for my opponent. The War Grey is obviously being the MVP of this game because it is carrying this game. Maybe my opponent is just being a little bit greedy because he did see that I added it, or saw it from the Izzy and obviously I drew into it. So maybe my opponent was just being a bit greedy here, but I was able to capitalize from it. I swing into the Digimon here, or the Sunflower, and then swing security with Monitormon. Use War Grey to unsuspend as a security was removed, and then here I'm just considering some other options. He does go to 3, so even if I was to play a Dark Knight, he would go to 3 anyways. I swing a security and hit a Rosemon, so thank goodness I didn't swing with my War Grey in that situation because that would have been pretty bad. But I feel like I'm in the controlling seat now. I feel like my opponent has run out of gas a little bit here, so I'm feeling a lot more confident. I decide to go into the Mighty Axe mode to reveal the top 3, add the Tamer, trash the rest, and delete the Sunflowermon. And the reason why I do this is because this helps with the math a little bit more. So I'm able to remove a guy, set up a blocker, and also play the Tamer that I got from it. So I've got 2 blockers out right now. Very hard for my opponent to deal with. He's at 3 memory, so he'll be able to go potentially into level 4 and then to a level 5, but I'm not too sure if he'll be able to go into a level 6. He goes into the Lolamon, able to play another Tamer out, suspends one of them to gain the memory back. But unfortunately, he goes into the Rosemon here, suspends one of my guys, but then is able, well, and then I unsuspend because it doesn't stop my guy from unsuspending. So I swing into security, I believe. Oh no, not here because of the suspend effect. So here, I'm just considering what are the options here, and I believe I have a Dark Knight in hand, so I think here I'm just considering if I want to de-digivolve the Rosemon and then go for a swing. So I think I'm going to do that here. I'm going to use the Kiriha to then put, oh no, because I believe if I suspend Oh no, because what happens here is that it's the turn players, so my effects go off first before his effect goes off. So I'm able to de-digivolve the guy, swing in a security, I'm able to unsuspend. I could have maybe played this a little bit more greedy and maybe won this turn, but I just want to be safe, and to be honest, being safe in this game is very important. I just basically confirmed the win here by going into a Dark Knight from trash using a Mortal Ruler, de-digivolve it and deleting the stack, and unfortunately I don't think my opponent has really a way out of this now, because I mean, just controlling the field with Dark Knights and the War Great Ace is definitely very strong. So my opponent has a lot of memory to play with here, but unfortunately I don't think it does enough. He may be able to go into a level 5, but I think that's the max he can do. So he goes to level 3, uses this to reduce the cost, go into a Lila, reveals the Tamer and the Burst mode, and I think that is ropes. So he's just pretending to hard play the Burst mode. He goes into the level 5, and then I swing for game.